Good morning, Fishers Tigers. I'm Joseph Basso, and welcome to our Halloween edition of FHS Weekly. Here's how you can get involved this week. The Student Alliance for Equity will be meeting in the library at 3 to 4 p.m. on November 5th. This club was established to empower students to undo racism, bias, stereotypes, and judgment. Attend if you would like to learn and participate. There will be a dine to donate for the FHS Champions Together Club on Thursday, November 7th from 10:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. at City Barbecue located at Ambleside Drive in Fishers. 25% of all proceeds will go back to their club, so make sure you drop by. The girls' high school swimming and diving season starts today after school. All girls interested in swimming or diving for FHS should report to the pool at 2:58 p.m. If you have any questions, please contact Coach Keller in the pool office. FHS Esports Club will meet in room B111 after school on Thursday, November 7th from 3 to 4 p.m. Bring a device, a friend, and a signed permission slip. And coming up, we have Trapped, a short story written by our very own Mallory Rowe and illustrated by Jessica Roth. Stay tuned.
The rhythmic pounding of the nails surrounded me, sealing me in. The last thunk rang out next to my left ear. I tried to get comfy. I was going to be there for a while. I brushed the worry aside. I knew I could get out of this. The sound of the splattering of dirt on the coffin lid got quieter and quieter, and then stopped. I made sure to wait a few minutes before I was sure that they left. My captors were smarter this time. They made sure to take my boots off before so they would make sure I wouldn't kick myself out. Since there was no other foreseeable option, I still needed to kick. I gently felt around the board with my foot, hardly even feeling the small splinters plunging into my feet and between my toe and toenail. The earth was already starting to cave in at the very edge of the coffin, so I positioned my foot under the soft spot. I calmed my mind as much as I could, and bit down on my shirt as to not scream so I wouldn't waste oxygen. I pulled my foot back and then kicked as hard as I could into the pine lid, instantly feeling my toes break and the wood shredding into my skin. I gritted my teeth, trying not to cry out in pain. I mentally readied myself for more kicking. I kicked as hard as I could, again and again, the adrenaline and desire to get out fueling me. The foot finally broke the lid off, right as my vision started going black. I caught myself before letting out a sigh of relief. I made the mistake of looking down. My foot was mutilated beyond belief. There was a huge, spiky splinter in the base of my foot among thousands of other smaller ones. 2 of my toes were hanging by a thread to the base of my foot. My other toes weren't even distinguishable up against the fleshy, bloody, mangled mess formerly known as my right foot. What I could only assume to be a toenail laid on the floor of the coffin. The sight was nauseating, and I was forced to take a few breaths so I wouldn't throw up all over myself. The end of the lid closer to my head was going to be easier to break, so I readied myself for the dirt that would pile in. I covered my head with my shirt and braced my hands to hit the lid open. After a few hits, I felt it come loose. I pushed myself out of the coffin and started maneuvering myself through the loose earth piled on top of me, and I smelled the dirt as it started to encase me. After digging and climbing, I could see a hint of light from above me. I reached my hand through the surface and pulled myself up, and then I was back in the coffin. I removed my shirt from my head and looked around. The pine walls surrounded me once again. I pushed my hands up against the coffin lid. It did not budge. I wondered if I had only imagined my escape. I looked down, and there was still a gnarled, mangled clump of flesh attached to the end of my leg. I pushed the vomit back down that came up my throat. This couldn't have been possible. There was only one thing that was certain. I had to get out again. I had to use my right foot again, or else I wouldn't have been able to walk. I could have only imagined escaping, but that didn't explain my foot. I put my shirt over my face again and braced my hands up against the coffin lid. I was gonna kick the lid open in combination with my hands pushing up against the header part of the coffin, hoping that it would make it easier for me. I exhaled my breath with each blow. After about 5 hits, it popped open. There was so much pain in my foot that I didn't even feel it. I pushed the lid up and started standing out of the coffin and digging through the dirt. I saw a hint of light again. I pushed myself through and finally reached the surface. The pine walls surrounded me again. I was so bewildered, perplexed, confused, I couldn't stop myself from letting out a scream of terror. I didn't have any more strength to get myself out a third time. None of this could be possible. The only sensible reason will be that I was already dead and my spirit was just trying to escape its eternal prison. Despite all of the pain I was feeling, I didn't feel like dying. I realized that no matter how much I screamed, I didn't lose any oxygen. I tried to get comfy. I was going to be there for a while.
Like Zoinks Tigers.
Jeepers. Jinkies.
And welcome back to Tiger Talk, the segment of the show where we talk about topical topics at a table. My name's Joe Heemstra, as always, joined by Marina Watkins, Adriana Roseborough. Spooky season is here.
Woo!
I'm excited. Thursday is Halloween. It's the day when we can all put our differences and our ages aside for our love of candy. I love chocolate. What kind of candies do we like?
I like Three Musketeers and Kit Kats.
Those are
chocolate.
good. Those are good.
Not the Whoppers or like the almond mounds because
Okay,
if you
that's
like
fair.
those, you're
You don't like Whoppers?
go away, Adriana.
I mean, I think mounds are good.
I don't like
What?
Mounds.
Those are like the disgust candies that like people like always like throw out and are like, "Mom, do you want this?" And they're like, "No," because even moms don't want it.
Yeah.
I love mounds. I think mounds are great. Anyway, so Halloween obviously is a big tradition in, American culture. I actually don't know if it's a big tradition anywhere else, to be
No, I
quite
think it's
honest.
just here, it's pretty crazy.
Is it here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, so obviously there's a lot of stories that you kind of get throughout the years of,
Yeah.
doing Halloween, as most children do. So what stories do we have? Do we have any cool stories?
My neighbor gave me a potato once instead of candy. It was great. I don't know why. I have the potato. My mom wouldn't let me eat it though.
Okay.
So I just like kind of put it on my shelf for a little bit and then threw it away.
What?
I feel like we all have those neighbors that try to give out the healthy food,
Yeah.
and it's
Not cool.
or like the toothbrush. I don't know if you've seen people give out like
I was
toothbrush.
about to ask, has anybody ever handed you like toothpaste or a toothbrush?
No?
No?
Is that a thing?
That's a thing people do.
Not in my neighborhood. They didn't know
It's like, on one hand, I appreciate you being, worried about my dental health, but on the other hand, like, I don't go trick-or-treating for that. I don't...
Do you guys still go trick or treating?
Yeah, I did
Uh-huh.
last year, so
I mean,
yeah.
see, okay, I like will always go trick or treating. I don't like care how old I am. The thing is, one year, it was like actually when I was like in 8th grade, I was 14, right?
Mhm.
And like I'm still pretty young. I feel like I'm still reasonably in trick or treating age. Like
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't cool, but that's fine.
That's
And
fine.
I went out and one of the like neighbors, I was in a different neighborhood, like was like, "No, you're too old," and like refused to give me candy.
Really?
And I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, because I was with a group of people who like we all like I guess like looked pretty old, but like
Yeah.
I feel like still refusing to give people candy, like the rowdy teenagers, like
It's kind of harsh,
Yeah.
I was like,
It's a night to have fun and to, do that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, it's candy.
giving toothbrushes is one thing, but just like flat out refusing, that's
Yeah.
another thing. That's a real damper. Don't do that.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, this wasn't on Halloween, but I've seen a ghost once.
Really?
Yeah.
Do tell.
So I was playing hide and seek at my friend's house,
Mm-hmm.
and she already told me that her bathroom was haunted, but I didn't believe her because like ghosts aren't real.
Right.
And I was playing hide and seek, and I hid in the corner of the bathroom, and I looked over, and like, so I was behind the door, so if she opened it, she couldn't see me. So that door is closed because you can't give away, and the
Right.
lights were off. And like, as my eyes were adjusting, I looked over, and between like, I don't know how to describe her bathroom. There's like a bathtub and then a little wall,
Yeah.
and then so there was like a thing in the corner. It was all hunched over and gross. So I screamed, and I got rid of my like hiding spot. I lost the game. But when we
Right.
turned on the lights, it wasn't there, and there weren't like towels or curtains, anything like that. So I think I saw a ghost. It was pretty crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
"Do you guys believe in ghosts?"
Well, I saw one, so yes.
Oh yeah.
I have never seen significant scientific evidence to make me
Oh, you're one of the
conclusively think.
scientific people. Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of this really cool thing called like the residue effect, which is basically like it's this idea that if something happens enough times in one area, like over a specific span of time, if it's all like condensed into like one time period, it'll continue to happen. Like that energy will still like be
I feel like I
residual.
know what you mean.
It's interesting. It's like why you can still hear like footsteps in like empty theaters that were once like really, really big and really, really popular. Like that's kind of like the
Or
whole
there's
like,
a ghost.
explanation.
Yeah. Or maybe
Or
the
there's a
ghost
ghost.
has the energy.
Or it's the
Yeah.
residue effect.
It's like probably both.
Or
It's like,
none of it is real, and ghosts aren't real either.
That's
do you
true.
believe in ghosts, Marina?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that enough. I refuse to acknowledge ghosts.
That's fair. But, you know, you don't have to see a ghost to have fun on Halloween. So, you know, just as long as you get candy and not toothpaste.
And be safe.
Yeah, that too. Be safe on Halloween as well. You know, I think a lot of people are more careful when they're driving, but still keep an eye out if you're trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
But that's all the time we have. Have fun on Halloween, Tigers. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Welcome back, Tigers. But before I move on with guidance, I have Miss Cecile Gadact with me today from the French Exchange Program to share some of our guidance announcements. Do you have an interest in history and love to write? Write the next Profile in Courage for the Profile in Courage Essay Contest. Describe and analyze an act of political courage by a U.S. elected official who served during or after 1917, the year of JFK's birth. Winners receive awards ranging from $100 to $10,000. Submit your essay by January 17th. Visit the link on our announcements page to find out how to register.
Interested in learning more about Manchester College? Plan to attend one of 4 visits days in November. Meet faculty, students, and coaches, and learn about admissions, academics, and campus life. Register online at visit.manchester.edu.
Want to learn more about Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee? If so, plan on attending Preview Day, November or February. Meet students and faculty, tour the residence halls, experience student life, and discover your academic area of interest. Register online at belmont.edu/preview day.
Interested in learning more about IUPUI School of Informatics and Computing? Plan on attending the high school open house on Friday, November 1st from 4:30 to 8 p.m. Meet faculty, speak with students, learn about accelerated graduate programs, study abroad opportunities, and enjoy pizza for dinner. You can find out how to register at the link of our announcements page.
Seniors, you can get free help filling out your FAFSA, free application for federal student aid, by attending College Goals Sunday on November 3rd at 2 o'clock p.m. at 5 Indianapolis locations. Financial aid professionals will be ready with free help so that you and your family can file for the FAFSA online in one afternoon. For more information, including locations, please visit collegegoalssunday.org.
Hey guys, welcome to Iconically Her Halloween edition with none other than Sophia Solis. I've got an awesome makeup tutorial in store for you guys, inspired by Marilyn Monroe. This look is totally adaptable to anything you might need this Halloween season. Well, let's get into it. So to start off this makeup tutorial, I'm going to be pulling my bangs out of the way with my favorite scrunchie, as you can see, and then I'm going to use my favorite product, the Rapid Clear Face Toner, to rid my skin of any excess makeup or oil that might have built up on it during the day. Next, I'm going to use some BB cream to start as a good base, and I really love this product because it helps protect the skin and even out any redness. However, this usually isn't enough coverage for me, so after I blend that out, I'm going to use some foundation to provide more full coverage. Notice how careful I am to blend out all of that foundation because I want to avoid it looking cakey. Next, I'm going to use the Burt's Bees Lip Balm to hydrate my lips and prep them for lipstick later on. Now I'm using some concealer to cover up light blemishes and scarring on my face. This product also works well as an eyelid primer in my experience, so I'm also going to be applying it there. And now my favorite part, eyebrows. I'm going to be using a CoverGirl brow pencil in the shade 710 Soft Brown. I think eyebrows really help frame your face, and they're really fun to play around with when it comes to makeup. I, for one, love a bold brow, but in this case, I'm going to have to use some self-control and do a more simple brow to follow what Marilyn would have done. One thing to consider is brow maintenance. I always pluck my eyebrows every other day to make sure that they don't get out of hand. And with just a few more touch-ups, we're done. And then I'm going to be using some brow gel on my brows to keep them in place, especially focusing on the tails of them because that's usually where I have the most trouble. Next, I'm going to be using some powder to avoid looking oily and shiny for this look. And finally, the eyeshadow. Now I'm going to dive right into this Estee Lauder palette using this grayish brown pigment, and I'm just going to pack that onto the eyelid. And then I'm going to be using a blending brush to buff out those harsh edges. Fab some! And now I'm going to be using the Total Temptation palette. I'm going to be taking the gold color and adding a bit of it into the corner of my eye, and this was a drugstore find that has easily become a permanent part of my makeup. And after some finishing touches, we're done with the eyeshadow. Next is eyeliner, and I'm going to be using my favorite eyeliner from e.l.f. I used to think liquid liner was really hard, and it still is. However, I think it's easier now than pencil. And then I'm just going to be making a small and dainty tail at the end. However, it doesn't always come out perfect, so I'm going to be using some makeup wipes to clean up the edge a bit, and then do the same on the other side. And now onto falsies. So I'm going to be taking an eyelash curler and just curling my top eyelashes a bit. I'm going to be taking my favorite pair of falsies, and I want to make sure to use black eyelash glue so it'll blend better. You might notice that I'm placing the eyelash more on the middle of my eyelid, and this is because Marilyn Monroe used to cut her falsies in half and actually just apply them at the end of her eyelid. However, I don't really want to cut mine, so as an easy alternative, you can just simply add it more towards the middle. Done! And now I'm going to be adding a thin layer of mascara to both of my eyes, especially making sure to apply a thin layer to my top lashes to help better blend the falsies into my natural lashes. Next is one of my favorites, blush. Marilyn Monroe always made sure to have rosy cheeks, so it's very important that you use blush. You're going to want to add a very little amount to your cheekbones because a little goes a long way. However, it is a very good addition to this look. Up next is highlight. I'm going to be using the same palette as before and adding a dollop of highlight to my nose and then to my temples. Next, I'm going to be lining my lips using a plum-colored lip liner. The reason I'm outlining my lips using a different shade is because I want to add more depth to my lips. By lining my lips using a plum shade and filling them in with a deeper red tone, this is going to help produce a more mature look and really give some depth to my lips. Try not to go over too much the depth that you created using the plum color when you're filling in your lips using the red lipstick. Mwah! Once the makeup portion of this look is done, feel free to add your own flair through any accessories you might want to add. A fun hat or hairpiece is always a good idea. Pearls add a feel of elegance, as well as any dainty watch you might have. And a cute little furry jacket is always a good idea. After a few finishing touches, the look is complete. And be careful, you might even get mistaken for Marilyn herself.
And this is the finished product. Like I said before, this look is totally adaptable, so whether you plan to be Sandy from Grease or Audrey Hepburn, hopefully you picked up some good makeup techniques. Follow me on Instagram at iconicallyher, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Bye!
We'd like to thank our French exchange students from
the Lycée Lambert Mulhouse
for joining us on announcements. Bye!